check an ID to find out if you're legit to buy or not buy. So I don't believe that marijuana is a gateway drug. I think the drug dealers are the gateway to drugs.
What about marijuana people driving cars?
I think we take care of that and say that you cannot drive a car or operate any motor vehicle, plane, boat, or otherwise, if you've ingested marijuana.
Where's the money coming from?
Where's what money coming from?
To do the petition.
The people.
Drive? The people.
People. But this is an industry. You have to understand something. We're trying to create a new industry in Michigan. Inside of a regulation of an agricultural product, a cash crop, which is what marijuana is, you have an industry that can support HVAC, insurance, accounting, security, distribution, retail, real estate. All of these things are jobs and are people that are going to help to stimulate and grow a stronger economy and generate more revenue.
Is there any question in your mind that you could get the signatures?
There's no question in my mind. We've retained the best petition collection firm in the country. We'll begin collecting on Saturday or Sunday of this week, and I believe that we'll get the 370,000 signatures to make this bulletproof.
Who will be the face of this campaign?
I will be the face of this
campaign. In other words, you want to lose.
Yeah, right? Because my record is so tarnished, right?
No, it's a serious question. I mean, are you going to have somebody to front this thing, a well-known person who said this is the right thing to do?
Yeah, we're going to build a coalition. That's why it's called the Michigan Cannabis Coalition. This is going to be a coalition of people. Individuals, citizens, business people, political people. I mean, everybody that wants to get involved with the new industry and generate something that needs to be done if we're going to control the destiny of Michigan and make sure that we establish our own regulatory reforms. We make sure that this is properly controlled. We make sure that it's properly taxed so it's not too far to go to a black market, but enough to generate money for education, public safety, and public health. Listen, this governor wants to talk about lowering corrections numbers. What's one easy step that's not going to cost the taxpayers much money? Stop putting people in jail for marijuana. It's a crop. It's a cash crop. Since the 1930s, it's been prohibited against. I think it's time, if we're going to reinvent Michigan, that we talk about all the options that are on the table. This is an option that says, if you want to use marijuana, if you choose to use marijuana, you can go to a store and you can buy it legally, 21 years of age or older, or don't. If you do, you're going to pay a tax revenue on it, either a sales tax or a wholesale tax or an excise tax. That's up to the legislature. We clearly state, listen, you are the elected officials in the state. We're giving you an opportunity to establish a revenue stream that is currently untapped in Michigan. And you and I both know we don't have many of those left. And this is one of them.
Well, it's still against the law federally.
Well, we look at Colorado, look at Washington State, states' rights. The states have a right to manage and regulate what they want to regulate in terms of a cash crop, an agricultural product. And I believe that at some point the federal government's going to come around to saying, hey, this is something we need to look at changing how we approach. It is a plant that grows in the ground. And
Matt, why do you want to leave the tax rate up to a legislature that's averse to raising taxes?
Because I want to run a campaign that's going to win, and I'm not going to win a campaign having a discussion about whether or not the tax rate I set was the appropriate tax rate. The legislature is elected to do a job. One of those jobs is to raise revenue for the citizens of Michigan. I think that we have a perfectly capable group of individuals that are currently elected and are perfectly capable of deciding what a fair tax rate is to establish on an agricultural product.
Does it mandate a tax increase?
Does not mandate a tax increase. Our opponents mandate a tax. They set it at 10%, can't go lower, can't go higher. Now, I don't know that that is necessarily the most judicious decision to make, but just the same, we believe that elected officials are elected to do a job, and one of those jobs is to set tax rates.
And Matt, aside from the tax issue, and sorry if I missed this earlier, but succinctly, what would you say makes this proposal better than the other one that the languages are just approved?
Well, one, it's readable. I think we heard that from the Board of Canvassers. The citizens can actually read what we've put on paper. That being said, I think that what they've done is take and try and basically, they're trying to retool what medical marijuana the statute says. If you read theirs is very heavy on the medical side of marijuana. We say very simply in Section 12 of ours, medical marijuana statute of 2008 is held harmless. Okay, if you are currently a patient or you are currently a caregiver, you will continue to operate under the same rules and regulations that are currently in place. We are not impacting medical marijuana. We're not even taxing medical marijuana. We are taxing commercial sale of recreational use of marijuana. Number two, I think that we have a free market approach, okay? What I think we're saying is that if you're able to cultivate and grow marijuana and you are not a felon, you can apply to the Michigan Cannabis Control Board for a license to cultivate marijuana. Inside of that license, there's a lot of requirements. You have to show that you have real estate that's zoned industrial. You have to show that you have the ability to produce your books, that you have insurance, that you have the ability to distribute, that you have the understanding of the industry, okay? And it will be strictly overseen by the Michigan Cannabis Control Board. Now, if you can't do that, then your business is going to fail. Now, the other unique thing is now we're going to say, okay, we've got a cultivation license. Now we need a retail market. So you get a retail license. Now, if your product is bad and nobody at the retail end is going to want to sell your product. So eventually the free market's going to flush this out the way it normally does in any other business. So I think what we're saying is, look, if we're trying to build a new business and new revenue streams in Michigan, if we're trying to establish a free market, then we need to set this up much the way we have set up all the other industries that currently peddle sin, if you will, alcohol, tobacco, the vineyards, the microbreweries, all of those are places that are 21 years of age, you're free in Michigan to go and imbibe or do whatever you want. And if you don't have to. But we're going to make sure that it's safe, regulated, and controlled. And that's the most important part. And if we don't, guess what's going to happen? We want to be Nebraska because they're getting all of Colorado's problems and none of their benefits. And so I think that's the difference there.
Your proposal would actually raise some revenue specifically for public safety.
Correct.
What are you hearing from the law enforcement community?
Very little in opposition. I mean, I don't expect the law enforcement community to come out and be supportive of this. I don't expect them to come out and say, hey, we're behind this. But I think what this does do is allow them to say, hey, you know what? We're going to have the first ever revenue stream in the state budget that we've ever had for public safety. What's that going to allow us to do? Are we going to be able to go out and are we going to be able to test more rape kits? Are we going to be able to put more cops on the street? What can we do with this new revenue stream? And from a public health factor, what things can we do to help impact greater drug problems like heroin or cocaine or opiates or other drugs? Okay, so now you have a revenue stream there. And in terms of education, well, everybody knows we need more pencils and crayons in classrooms. And if you want to choose to purchase recreational marijuana at a controlled retail facility and you're 21, why shouldn't you be able to do so? It's not my bag, but at the same time, if it's going to generate revenue, well, then I'm all for it, because I just think we've watched the proposal go down 80-20 on raising taxes for roads, okay? This is basically establishing a revenue stream that if you choose to participate in it, you're going to pay a tax. If you don't have to pay anything, but you're still going to benefit from the revenue.
I'm leaving this up to the lawmakers again. I mean, the group that was also